Welcome back to the channel. My name is Thomas Fletcher and I'm the host of the LCSW network. If you're new to the channel, please do me a favor by smashing that like button, by subscribing to the channel, and by sharing this video with your social work colleagues and friends. The purpose of this channel is to create a community of hope and support, where social workers can come for relevant news, information, and inspiration. Well, welcome back to Self-Care Saturday. Welcome back to Season 3, Episode 31 of our Self-Care Saturday series. So I am continuing to review excerpts from my book, Self-Care Tips for Social Workers and Other Licensed Mental Health Professionals, now available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle formats. So in today's show, we will be reviewing an excerpt from Chapter 25, which is called Pay Yourself First. And I added this disclaimer in the book that I will also add to this video, that this is not financial advice, nor am I a financial advisor. The purpose of this video is for educational and informational purposes only. Okay? So in this chapter, we are going to be talking about the financial wellness self-care practice called Paying Yourself First. Okay, and again, I will give the disclaimer that I did put in this book, that I am not providing financial advice in this video or in this book. I am not a financial advisor. This is purely for informational and educational purposes only. And you can think of this as continuing education. You should do your own research and consult with your own CPAs and certified financial advisors for any type of financial advice. But again, this is not financial advice. So I was recently thinking that as mental health professionals, we are providing mental health services to a lot of people that are experiencing tremendous amounts of stress, which include financial stress, relationship stress, stress from losing their jobs, stress from the threat of getting evicted or foreclosure. We provide a lot of support to people going through these types of financial stressors and other types of stressors. So I was thinking, what are we as social workers, as mental health professionals, doing to support our financial wellness? A few days ago, before I filmed the original video that this chapter is based on, I was facilitating a financial wellness group right around the time of the third round of pandemic government stimulus checks in the United States were going out. And I was using a handout from the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, also known as SAMHSA, called the 8 Dimensions of Wellness. The 8 Dimensions of Wellness were covered exclusively in earlier chapters in this book. And I have left the link to that document at the beginning of this chapter in the description box of the original video that this video is based on. At the end of this video, I will leave a link to that original video, that the book and that this video is based on. I know that's confusing, but you'll see. You'll see that last year in 2021, I did a video about this topic, Pay Yourself First. So you'll see. So getting back to the chapter here. SAMHSA talks about 8 dimensions of wellness, and one of the 8 dimensions that is discussed in this publication is financial wellness. So you could say that was the genesis or inspiration for me creating the original video and chapter and talking about the specific self-care topic of paying yourself first. So what does this mean? Colleagues, those of you who regularly watch videos on YouTube, you can actually type the phrase "pay yourself first," and you will come up with hundreds, if not thousands, of videos. I'm not here to replace any of those videos, but I'm speaking to a specific audience of social workers and other mental health professionals. So let's talk about what it means to pay yourself first. Before we talk about paying yourself first, let's talk about what most of us do. Every time that we get paid, whether we get paid weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, there are bills that we have to pay, such as the mortgage, rent, utilities such as electricity, gas, water, trash, internet, cable, and or other streaming services. Telephone bill, groceries, transportation, whether that's a car note, public transportation, car maintenance, car insurance. For those of us that have children, we have to pay for all of those expenses from diapers all the way through the age of 18. And some of us will even pay college tuition and associated expenses. So if we're paying all these bills to everybody else, when do we pay ourselves? If we are not intentional, we can fall into the trap of living from paycheck to paycheck, and the trap of having to work in a job or in a career where you no longer want to, but you are forced to because you haven't paid yourself first. So what are some ideas and tips that we can all do to start paying ourselves first? My hope is that the majority of you are doing these things so you can think of this as continuing education. If you are doing all of these things, let me know in the comments section of this video. The first way that we can pay ourselves first is by participating in a 401k program. Many of us work for employers that provide matching funds in the 401k program. Working as a civilian and as a military uniformed service member for the federal government, I actually have two 401k plans called the Thrift Savings Plan. You can contribute as much as you want up to the annual maximum, and that changes every year. When I made the video last year, the maximum was $19,500 if you're under the age of 50. But again, the numbers go up every year, so please check that current number at your own discretion. But the government will match up to 5%. So you best believe that I'm participating in both of my TSPs with the Department of Veterans Affairs and with the Department of Defense. Again, the total maximum that I can save into both accounts, well, as of last year, was $19,500 until I turned 50. And then I can contribute $26,000. I think right now, if you're over the age of 50, the total that you can contribute into your TSPs is, I think it's $27,000. Don't hold me to that, guys, but you can check that for yourselves. So if you have a 401k and you're not participating in it, especially if your employer provides matching funds, you're leaving free money on the table. Don't do that. Don't leave free money on the table. So paying yourself first in a 401k account will also reduce your taxable income. But again, discuss this with your CPA and or financial advisor. Again, this is not financial advice. So that's the first way that we can pay ourselves first. The second way that we can pay ourselves first is by participating in something called a health savings account, or an HSA. Some of us are working for employers that offer these health savings accounts. To participate in these health savings accounts, you must be enrolled in what is called a high deductible health plan, or HDHP. If you're participating in an HDHP, that makes you eligible for its health savings account. The cool thing about these HSAs is that they have a triple tax benefit. They allow you to contribute tax-free contributions, earn tax-free earnings, and make tax-free withdrawals for qualified medical expenses. Many HSAs will also allow you to move your tax-free contributions and earnings into investment vehicles such as stocks, bonds, ETFs, and mutual funds, where your money can grow even faster than keeping it in the non-investment HSA. So in 2021, the maximum contributions that you can make to an HSA are $3,600 for an individual and $7,200 for a family. I believe currently in 2022, the maximum for a family is $7,300, and I think the individual is still $3,600. But you can check. You can check what the current maximum contributions are. So paying yourself first in an HSA will also reduce your taxable income. But again, this But again, discuss this with your CPA or your financial advisor. Again, this is not financial advice. So that's the second way that we can pay ourselves first. The third way that we can pay ourselves first is by saving in an individual retirement account, or IRA. And there are two types of IRAs, the traditional IRA and the Roth IRA. At the time that I made the original video back in 2021, the annual limit for the IRA was $6,000 for those contributing under the age of 50 and $7,000 for those people that were age 50 and older. So again, they've probably raised the limit in 2022. I haven't checked it, but they usually raise the limit on these IRAs and HSAs and 401ks. They usually raise the limits every year or so. If not every year, every other year. Okay. So if you're contributing to a traditional IRA, this is a tax-deductible account, which means it will lower your taxable income when you file your taxes. Again, please consult with your CPA and or financial advisor. This is not financial advice. If you decide to contribute to a Roth IRA, you'll be contributing money that you have already paid taxes on, or post-tax dollars. The cool thing about the Roth IRA is that when you withdraw the money after age 59 and a half, the money is completely tax-free. The government will not tax it again because this is post-tax money. The taxes have already been paid. Again, please consult with your CPA and or financial advisor. Again, this is not financial advice. Can't say that enough. So that's the third way that we can pay ourselves first. The fourth way that we can pay ourselves first, which I probably should have stated first, is by saving in an emergency fund. How many of us have emergency funds? There are articles on the internet that talk about how many Americans don't have $1,000 in their savings that they could turn to if their car breaks down or if they have a major appliance breakdown. Most people who don't have at least $1,000 in savings would have to put those unplanned expenses on a credit card and go into debt, paying between 15 to 20% in interest, if not higher. Alternatively, we can pay ourselves first by putting a little bit of money every time we get paid into this emergency fund that we don't touch. By depositing money every time we get paid into this fund, it will put us onto the road of financial freedom and independence and allow us to move away from the cycle of living from paycheck to paycheck. We want to be in a position where we are continuing to work as mental health professionals, not because we're living paycheck to paycheck, but because we're still passionate about helping and providing professional support to our clients. Ideally, that's why we want to continue to do this work. We don't want to feel forced to continue to have to be mental health professionals because we don't have emergency funds or because we haven't saved in our 401ks or HSAs or IRAs. I know it's a lot of acronyms. So here's my thesis for why paying yourself first is self-care. If we do not have these emergency funds, if we are not paying ourselves first through our 401ks, IRAs, and our health savings accounts, we are going to succumb to the same financial stress that our clients and many people around the world are living with. Unfortunately, many of us are living with financial stress for the reasons that I have laid out. We're providing support and therapy to millions of people around the world. People that are stressing out about losing their jobs, working longer hours, fighting with their husbands and their wives because they don't have enough money to pay all the bills. Stress from teleworking while the kids are at home. Doing remote learning during the 2020-2021 global pandemic. As mental health clinicians, we hear about the financial stress from our clients every day, whether we work in private practices or in the public sector. We are not exempt from financial stress, so that's why we need to pay ourselves first as a self-care practice. There was one, actually I'm going to stop there because this is a longer video than I usually make. So, paying yourself first. Let's do it, everybody. We have to. It's the only way that we can keep the financial stress at bay. All right, so I'm going to stop right there. I want to thank you all for watching this video. For all the social workers and other licensed mental health professionals out there, thank you for the work that you do every day. For your clients, for your agency, and for the profession. Please continue to support each other and yourselves. Bye for now.